If you're struggling to plan your event and visualize all the details, then watch this video because I'm about to take this client from going from this visual to this visual. And so we're gonna break down all the details and I'm gonna build this live right now, so check it out. Okay, so the first step we wanna take is bringing in our tent. And in this case, this client is in a 40 by 80 pole tent. So we're gonna drop our pole tent in here first and make sure it lines up with our fake grass line. And anytime you're starting to plan an event, you want to first just grab all the items or at least map out a realistic space. So a lot of times when clients bring their either 2D or drawn out layouts to us, it can be challenging to match that because it's not fit to scale. So one of the first and easiest and best things that we do is make sure that we're talking the right spacing for all of the items. So the first thing we're gonna do, and I'm just referring over here to the picture, is grab in all the things on the order. So we've got our dance floor, and backtrack here and make a duplicate of that. Okay, and there. So what we want to do first is make sure that this is fit to scale. So we're gonna do a 20 foot this way and 16 foot this way. So that's our 16 by 20 foot dance floor, and it might look a little skewed, but I can show you the measurements and how everything lays out in the end. So definitely make sure you pay attention. Obviously not a lot of our clients have the ability to do these 3D layouts, but luckily we've built everything in here, most of it in here from scratch, which allows us to pull this off for our clients. So next up, they have a bunch of 8-foot tables. Let's grab those in. And we've got some food tables and a cake table, and that looks to be about it. So let's get our food tables in here. We have 2 of those. So we'll grab these 2. And what's nice is we can label these in our software. So anytime that we're working with a client and they want to make changes, it's super simple. Once we build the foundation, it's super simple just to make revisions and show you different options. That way, you might want to see a pole tent versus a frame tent. Once we have the bones and the foundation, we can definitely, it's a lot faster to make those adjustments. So let's put our food about here. Something to be mindful of, just kind of like a bonus tip, is if we use our measuring tool, we really only have about 6 inches away from the edge of the tent. So a lot of times if there's servers, you might want to slide this out because you got to assume that there's going to be servers behind the tables. But if it's grab and go buffet style, most likely the catering company or whoever's filling can kind of just have easy access right here. So that's that. Next up, let's get our cake table. So they actually have a round cake table, but we don't have they have an 8-foot table here. So we do have a dessert table I could throw in, which I'll actually do this 8-foot dessert table here. So let's grab that. Okay, so now that we have the majority of our items in here, I'm going to go ahead and place in our 72-inch first, since those are some big tables that we want to kind of plan around. And they only have, I want to make sure this is unique. Okay, so they only have 4 of these, so we're going to drop in the first 3, kind of matching their layout here, and dragging those back. Something I noticed is a little offset, so let's bring those up. There we go, up for now, and then bring down right there. So now they're all lined up on the ground. Like I said, we try to make these as realistic as possible. And then we've got one, the client wants right about in front of the cake table, let's go with about here. All right, and then the next thing we can do is we can space these out to match their photo. And I will say, it's a really good feeling. A lot of times we get clients that grab these, after we build them, they see them, And it's like one of the coolest feelings, to be honest, when you know you're helping somebody, and it might be something that you're struggling with a lot, but it's rather easy, or I should say less difficult, when we build these out for our clients. So something I'm seeing is they've got two, we're gonna break this up here and explode these. We've got two tables going here. And as you can see, that's getting a little tight right there. And they're right next to the DJ. So I think what we're gonna have to do is bring this up a little bit and then bring these over a little bit. So if we slide this down to be about there, then we can bring this one right about there. Okay. So far so good. Shaping up to be pretty cool looking. And if you have any event designs that you'd like to see us build, feel free to leave a comment below, and we'd love to help you out. So we've got this, and this. Let's go with our two more over here. And to be honest, like a lot of times clients will spend hours, sometimes multiple hours, planning all the details, but truthfully, if sometimes we do these live sessions, so what you could be able to do is essentially schedule a meeting with us, and we're able to do a live call where we actually build your custom event layout live with you. So that's always helpful as well. Okay. We are almost done. We don't need these three. And let's go on this back side. And put this right here. So obviously we see a bit of a traffic jam here. What we're going to do, the client has no chairs on this inner side. So we're going to go ahead and delete these. And they've got benches actually. I saw in the order notes that there's benches on the order, so we can line that up like that. And for now we're just going to have a placeholder in there for the benches, but the inside looks to be benches. Same thing on this side. Delete, 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 delete. One of the best parts about this is everything is almost to a T fit to scale. So there you have it. But one thing I don't like about this is it isn't particularly centered. So in order to center this up, I mean, this does take up a good amount of space here. So in order to center this up, let's see what we can do. The best option might be, truthfully, to move this down. We can't go too far. Here, what if we go back and center this here? Let's see if we can kind of redo this, but starting with this centerpiece kind of happening in here. And it might not work. That's the thing about these layouts. The client might want something, but we have to kind of work around the actual space. Like these are fit to scale. So it could, be complicated if we are, if a client wants one thing, but space and restrictions kind of wants another. So let's see what we can do here without being too tight. Let's go down to here. I wouldn't go much further because the best part, like I said, we can measure this out. That gives us a good 2.5 feet. I think that's safe. But this one's definitely causing a concern. We're gonna have to go probably as far as here, which then is gonna push this one. Let's go with up a little bit. I think if we can get this table maybe in there, that looks a lot better. And we could always slide this one up just to space it out a little bit. But one thing to keep note of is this is a pole tent. So when you're under a pole tent, you're gonna have to work around these poles. And I'll show you really quickly. If we go over to our frame tent styles, you'll notice that underneath of the tent, it's completely wide open. There's no center poles. So just something to keep in mind when you're picking your tent rental is A, what design works, and B, obviously, what you like and what fits with your layout. So if we didn't have these center poles, it would be a lot easier to work around, but unfortunately that is the case, that we are working around them right now. So looks like I'm gonna send this off to the client. I tried to match it as best as possible, but now we get to talk with the client, make revisions, and see what they want to do about this bit of a tight space here, just because of trying to line this up. And then also see how it looks a little too close to the dance floor, while we still have a good amount of space back here. So what we can do there is grab our tables, and let's finish this off by sliding this back to about there. I always like to give a little extra space. Okay, so there you have it. Check this out. Let me know what you think. If you found this video helpful, I'd love if you give it a thumbs up, like this video, and stay tuned for some more.